Good afternoon and welcome to Conversations at 1. My name is Seidlitz Nkhonjera and I'll be taking you through the next 60 minutes of this conversation. Today we are comparing between the Public Order Act and the Public Gatherings Bill. Remember, yesterday President Hakainde announced that the Public Gathering Bill was sent back to Parliament on the 29th of May, and this particular reason was because of public concern. He says that there's need for the law to be relooked at based off of the feedback that has been given by the public. Now, in a constitutional democracy, the ultimate test of statecraft is how the nation balances the scales between public security and the fundamental liberties. Now, for 7 decades, Zambia has operated under the shadow of Chapter 113 of the laws of Zambia, the Public Order Act of 1955. It is a piece of legislation birthed in the colonial era, widely criticized by successive opposition parties as an oppressive tool used to stifle dissent, yet paradoxically embraced by those same parties the moment they ascend to power. Now, the call for reform has been deafening, and in response, the government introduced the Public Gathering Bill of 2026, aimed at repealing and replacing the Colonial Era Act. It seemed that the new dawn had brought a new dawn of new legislative era that was going to be upon us. But in a dramatic turn of events, just yesterday, President Hakainde announced through his communications specialist that he had sent back the Public Gathering Bill to Parliament, citing immense public concern and the need for deeper consultation. Now, why did a bill meant to rescue us from an oppressive law trigger such anxiety from the public? Are we truly moving forward or towards an era of expanded freedoms, or are we simply pouring old wine into new bottles? Joining me to dissect these and compare the two laws is Mr. George Chomba, our resident analyst. Mr. Chomba, good afternoon and welcome to Conversations at 1.
Good afternoon.
You kept telling me and our viewers that the Public Order, the Public Gatherings Bill had not been, enacted by the president, and just yesterday that confirmation came through. Now, today we aim to compare and contrast what was good about the Public Gathering Bill, but also what was good about the Public Order Act. Now, in my intro, I've mentioned that the several governments have said the Public Order Act is bad. Why are we going back to the Public Order Act if it is bad?
First of all, what people should understand is all the countries which are democratic, I don't know about dictatorship, they have a law to regulate gatherings, regulate assemblies, regulate meetings. So Zambia is not an exception. So in the thinking of the colonial masters, in 1955, they enacted the Public Order Act. And the police officers that I've met, senior police officers in workshops and everywhere, they have always said the problem with the Public Order Act has been the implementation, not that Zambia shouldn't have a Public Order Act. Hence the decision by this government to come up with a public order, public gathering bill, which unfortunately the president, I'm saying unfortunately because it contained certain provisions that Zambians, as we discuss, are going to compare and contrast and say, this one is good, this one is bad, this one is, we could have worked on it and all those things. So we are not jumping from the frying pan into the fire. We have remained actually into the fire because we remain with the 1955 Act, which regulates gathering which people were complaining about. But we can give credit to the president, because the president is supposed to listen to public outcry and opinion. But we can only say, as a new government is formed next year, quickly people look at it.
And this may sound a little confusing, to the viewer, the ordinary Zambian that is watching this program. President Hakainde Hichilema, as executive, his government designed this particular, law and took it to Parliament. Parliament, which the UPND administration had the majority and the support of some members of, the opposition. And they looked and scrutinized the Public, Order Act. And then they, in a sense, came up with this public gathering bill. But then someone would be told that for someone to hear that the president has withdrawn, has
his
sent
signature
back the bill and has said, I'm not going to sign this, when it was firstly on his table and his cabinet, then taken to Parliament through his minister, then his members of Parliament, as well as some members of the opposition, approved that he must sign because this, what they had come up with, was very good. And then all of a sudden, the president says, I am not going to sign this owing to public, outcry. What exactly are the specifics that made the president want to, or not want to sign this particular piece of legislation?
The misinformation and disinformation, and I'm guessing because I've never sat with the president, was about when you are 3, then you'll be arrested. Even when the Minister of Home Affairs did amend this provision, that is the section, to mean 7 people, but still people believed that if this came into law, what would happen is that where 3 people are gathered, then they'll be arrested. But the meaning of the colonial masters and the meaning in the new Public Gathering Act was, if 3 of you, that is in the Public Order Act, and even in the Gathering Act, which was increased to 7 people, it's not just meeting because you are going somewhere, you are in a minibus. You have got different intentions. You are going to the market, you are going to a shopping mall, you are going somewhere, which means you are not planning anything. The intention of the gathering in terms of definition in the public gathering was all about, if you are planning one thought, if you are 7 of you, then you need to notify the police. But there were certain exemptions which were contained. For example, you are having a wedding, you can be 100 of you. And nobody would tell you, can we have to notify the police? But in the Public Order Act, which we are now in, what would happen is, if you are 100 of you and you are going to have a party at a home, you are supposed to notify the police. That's how bad this current law, which we are talking about as a Public Order Act, is.
And just right there, Mr. Chomba, I think we can then turn to our screen and really get to comparing and contrasting these, particular things. So now, under Section 5 of the old Public Order Act, this is Chapter 113 of 1955. Now, under Section 5 of this, the language explicitly talks about regulating officers stopping processions for which no permit has been issued. Now, the new Public Gathering Bill, which has been sent back to Parliament of 2026, introduced a notice of public gathering under Section 6. Now, is this a genuine shift from police granting permission to citizens simply notifying, or citizens simply notifying the police?
In 1996, what happened was, in terms of notifying the police, wasn't there. It was about seeking permission from the police. But even in 1996, when Christine Mulundika went to court, and then it was quashed in terms of notification, government went back to the courts and argued that the regulation is very important. So what happened was that there was now the notification, but it was in the authority of the police. Whether you notify the police will tell you, we don't have manpower, or can you choose another day? But when you compare it with the bill, it was more focused on promoting assemblies and protection of freedom of assembly. So this is what the president has not signed.
So this was going to repeal and replace this one, which focused on prohibition and regulation.
Where the police were the authority themselves. So it was supposed to cancel that authority that the police had. That's why there were days in terms of 48 hours, you are supposed to write to the public and tell them, oh, you want to have a procession. Oh, okay. We have received your letter, but maybe the place and date under which you have written the letter, somebody else is supposed to do, assemble and protest or meet. But in the bill, the police were not supposed to tell you, you are not going to do it, because it was just a notification to the police.
Fascinating. Now, let's look at exemptions, under Section 6 of the old Public Order Act. So when you come to exemptions here, we talk of ministers may exempt religious organizations, whereas in the proposed law, there's a long list, that was shared, that, the president, the vice president, ministers, members of parliament, mayors, would be exempted.
In the Public Order Act, it was the president, vice president, ministers. And that is what we have maintained at the moment. In terms of, you can have ministers having a meeting. And ministers normally are from the ruling party. You can have the president, which was maintained in the Public Order Act. The vice president was maintained in that is in the proposed law. But if the president had signed the Public Order Act, what could have happened is all these people listed here, the president, vice president, ministers, MPs were complaining about having meetings. Councillors, mayors should have been part and parcel of people. As long as they are doing their work, they never needed to notify the police. So the Public Order Act had wider freedoms than what will be maintained when there is a new parliament. Because what will happen is, don't blame the police if after 13th August, a member of the opposition is having a meeting and then the police would ask, why are you having a meeting? We haven't received any notification and we haven't allowed you to assemble. And the people will be saying, but why are you stopping MPs? It's because we are remaining with the old act and not the new public gathering bill.
There is another part that talks about regalia, and the old law focused more, there are penalties. It focused more on political uniforms and flags.
Military and all those things,
The new law in this case now talks about the Defense Force of the National Security Services under Section 11, making it a criminal offense to wear military, or police-like regalia in public or at public gatherings, carrying a penalty of up to 2 months imprisonment. But what caught my eye, Mr. Chomba, in the new bill is Section 10, which was monitoring of public gathering by media. Why was this explicitly, put into this law?
What the public should understand is in the public gathering, the media was given freedom, or the media, the personnel were given freedom to cover, and the police were supposed to protect them. Currently, people have heard about the police and even the public, those who are gathered at a meeting, beating up media personnel. It's because that is what is in it's not provided for in the law, but if you don't distinguish yourself from ordinary persons, what would happen is that any unfortunate event would happen to you. But if I identify myself, for example, I'm putting on Crown Television here, what should happen is that the police are able to easily identify me. If I'm putting on a jacket in terms of written media or press, the police are supposed to, hey, don't tamper with the journalist. He's doing his work. And what would happen is that I'll be freely writing at that meeting in terms of informing the public about what is being said.
What do you think is the main reason? Because if you say what you are telling me, Mr. Chomba, I want to believe that the public gathering bill has got more freedoms actually as compared to the Public Order Act. But then how has Zambia missed this? I know you spoke of misinformation and also, but isn't this now bringing it down to the lack of reading?
First of all, and this is what I can say and advise, I always talk about some of us, we are in the afternoon of reading. But the young ones, as they gather information and report to the public, and also the government machinery in terms of communicating to the public. The way we are communicating at the moment isn't the right way. Information is moving at the speed of light. But what is happening is that we are still in 1964, where we think the public would understand, which is very unfortunate. So we should develop a culture where we read things and not sit in a bar or sit in a minibus. I am in minibuses, I'm in public transport. There is a lot of things that people talk about in terms of misinforming other passengers. And this is where what will happen, everybody and all the people who are currently in election, the 14 candidates and members of parliament and councillors, they should fear. Because what will happen is that misinformation will spring up about George Chomba. And nobody would like to ask me, is this true? What will happen is that somebody is just going to spread the news and say, tinavi verenga pa social media, which means it is true. My journalists, this is the way they write and all those things. But we should develop a culture of verifying. We shouldn't believe, and this is what I can tell my fellow journalists. Don't believe politicians. Believe in what you have researched. So that when you are asking a politician about what they are saying, they are able to answer you correctly, because you are able to tell them, I have got your manifesto. I have got what you are saying. But what you are saying and what is written on paper, these are two different things. Then we are going to reduce on misinformation.
When you look at the role that the media plays in a democracy, in governance, as in Zambia, we are the fourth estate, meaning that we offer, oversight on all government, arms, the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. And we look at how polarized the media has become today. It becomes very difficult now, even for the viewer, the listener at home, to tell what exactly is, because of what you're saying. A lot of us in the media will look at conversations that are ignited or started by politicians, and we want to focus on that surface and not go beneath, that particular story. Now, democratic Zambia has seen the MMD criticize the Public Order Act. It has seen the Patriotic Front criticize the Public Order Act. It has seen the United Party for National Development criticize the Public Order Act and promise the Zambian people that when we get into government, we are going to amend this particular law. Why was yesterday's message by President Hakainde Hichilema saying we are going to stick with the Public Order Act and this document is going to be taken back to Parliament? Why has it been received with so much cheer? I've seen CSOs, I've seen a number of people commending the President for going back to a law which all opposition political parties and ruling political parties that have existed have said is a bad law.
What we should improve on is communication. I'm a bad communicator, maybe, because every time I'm coming from home, and I believe my children are not going to eat chicken, because the only thing which is there is chibwabwa. But I'll tell them, lero takuli nkoko, kulife chibwabwa. In Zambia, we fear to tell the truth because lies are better listened to than telling the truth. So there are so many programs which have been implemented at this particular time. And if you look at most of the politicians who are speaking at this particular time, they would rather listen to songs, and songs are have a better message because they simply say, oh, Tulefu, I knew you. But you ask them, why do you want this person? Nobody is going to tell you the truth. So we should improve on the communication skills in terms of, if we have to tell the truth, let's tell the truth. I know I've been criticized and people would say, but if the facts are the things that I'm talking about, how do you tell me a London fe chaching? Because I'm telling you, unless you ask me, can you comment on this one? And then I'll tell you, it's either I don't know the information or I know the information. So government, I'll give you a scenario where people maybe my age or even older would remember. When Kaunda was in power, we used to call Zambia State Intelligence as Bashushushu. When the MMD were campaigning, they said, we are going to abolish Bashushushu. But when they came into power, they realized that you can't abolish the Shushushu because all the countries in the world have got intelligence wing. And the only thing that Chiluba talked about was, we are going to reform the intelligence so that they can be among people. So those lies started a long time ago. And even when the PF were coming into power after MMD, there are certain things that they talked about. And the people may realize, the PF talked about our prices of goods will be lower. What did they do? They just rebased the currency and removed the zeros. And people believed that, oh, things have reduced. Which is, right now as we are speaking, maybe a bag of milk could have been 2,000. But because they removed some zeros, people believed, there has been a reduction. So those are some of the things that happened. When the UPND were coming into power, yes, at the platform, they talked about reducing milk. But the factors of production determine how much a bag of milk will cost. So just like Kaunda talked about 1 egg per day, what should have happened is, let's talk about factors of production, whether they are going to help you reduce milk, the price of eggs, the price of chicken. So those are things that people need to listen to. You tell them in their face. You don't produce, you don't actually have lower prices for anything.
Lastly, Mr. Chomba, before we open the phone lines, there is the notification process. Now, the Public Order Act of 1955 required 7 days notice for meetings or processions to police police officers or regulation officers, could be council and all of those. Now, the Public Gathering Bill reduced that to 5 days notice to authorized officers at a police station, and only an acknowledgement was required within 24 hours. And that within 24 hours, if you don't get a response from the police station, then it is giving you the right to go ahead.
For people who would like to understand, this is the standard in terms of Africa Union. 5 days is the standard. But other countries have reduced. Congo at the moment and Tanzania are leading in terms of, you notify the police, within 48 hours they respond to you. In Zambia, what we, in the public gathering bill, what happened, the proposed was within, I think, 48 hours, 3 days, you are answered. If they don't respond to you, which means you go ahead with the meeting.
But with the Public Order Act,
The current one, you don't go ahead until the police actually authorizes you to actually perform what you are trying to do.
goodness me. You're watching Conversations at One, and we are trying to get to understand the differences and similarities, if ever there are any, of these, two particular documents. Now, today, the UPND administration, the UPND party, is launching its party manifesto, and we're going to be seeing what that is going to be. We take a listen a little, and then on the other side we pick your phone lines, so that we pick the phone lines, the phone calls, so that we hear what your thoughts are with regards these two laws that we are looking at. Remember, President Hakainde Hichilema yesterday sent back on the 29th of this month, sent back the proposed amendment, that is the Public Gathering Bill, to Parliament for refinement. And according to the law, when Parliament submits a bill to the President for assent, he has to respond within 21 days. He responded within that period, and his response was that it needed to be worked on further. When it comes back to him after Parliament resumes, if it comes back to him, or
so
to,
let's
to the
just
next
say
president,
if it comes back to the presidency.
yes, to the presidency, it could be the current president if he's voted for again, or whichever president that is going to form government if the UPND does not make office come the 13th of this year's August. Then it means that that particular president will have 7 days to review what Parliament would have recommended. They may take it back as it is, or they may take it back with some amendments, and the president at that particular time will have about 7 days to make a decision.
At the moment, what we can say is out of the fire into the fire.
My goodness. All right, let's have a look at this video, and on the other side, we pick your phone calls.
For national development, let me recognize our chairman of the party, Secretary General, rank and file. Importantly, recognize our alliance partners, all of them without exception, and I'm glad that they are here. Former vice presidents, I choose to call them vice presidents, well recognized. May I also recognize the public sector, because this party is in government and government continues until after elections. So government does not come to an end or cease. Government is a living thing. It has continuity. It does not allow gaps. Secretary of the Cabinet, through you, central government workers, local government, and indeed others. May I acknowledge members of the diplomatic corps that may be with us today and cooperating partners, clergy, religious leaders, thank you for being present today. Very important to recognize the labor leaders that manage our workers. And in there, the leaders of our young people, student leaders. Viva Monco Viva! Viva Monco Viva! Viva Moma Viva! Thank you. Thank you, monks and mamas. Thank you very much. Let me acknowledge our business leaders as well, who may be here. Capital, labor, working with government, tripartite partnership. Extremely important. Other dignitaries that are here, media included, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, fellow citizens of our beloved country, Zambia, fellow citizens, we are here to launch our UPND manifesto. And to be complete, this is our manifesto that incorporates our alliance partners in our shared vision, for our country. One or a group must have a shared vision in order to walk through that vision. Policies drop from there, laws, regulations, procedures drop from there. If the vision is unclear, first, if it's not there, people perish. The vision is unclear, people will perish too. I think it's important that from the outset that we state that today is a day for the people of Zambia. We are simply instruments, agents of the people of Zambia. They are at the center of what this vision is all about. Today belongs to all our people across our republic. This manifesto, I must say, was generated by them, interacting with them in many spheres of life. As we implemented our 2021 to 2026 vision, we encountered citizens along the way. As we served them in many facets, we talked to them. We implemented our 10-point plan, as you know, religiously, even with challenges that are beyond or out of our own making, such as the drought, such as, really, for this government, the dead mountain that we inherited, such as the education sphere, water and sanitation, water supply and sanitation. We encountered citizens of Zambia and engaged them, and they made suggestions. They put their points on the table. And therefore this manifesto is in recognition of that which we won an election upon and work to deliver, and the responses from the people. So this is therefore a manifesto generated by and written for the people of Zambia, to benefit who? As I said, to benefit the people of our country and their associates, those who live in this country, live, do business here. Very important. So, 5 years ago, you trusted us with public office. Against all odds, you voted for this organization and its partners to be your servants, and we don't take that for granted. Great respect, greatest of respect, because there were many competitors. For example, there were 16 presidential candidates on the ballot paper. 16, 1, 2, 3, 16. And you chose this fellow standing here. And you did it emphatically. You did it emphatically. We don't take that for granted. We take it as a serious obligation to work for you. To work for you. You trusted us to lead from the front, not from behind. When the West drought in living memory came, afflicted us, we said no Zambian will die of hunger. And we worked diligently. And we've never heard anyone saying, in my family, this member died because of the hunger instigated by drought, itself instigated by climate change. Leading from the front, not from the back. Not blaming anybody when things went wrong. When the same drought injected a decline, decapitated our electricity generating capacity, since we're largely hydro, we did not hide. We did not conceal that situation. We came before the people of Zambia and acknowledged the challenge and said we will not mourn and groan. We will work to turn the coin the other side. What is that side? Opportunity. To invest beyond hydro. And I'll talk about it today a little bit. Never giving excuses. When people complained about the price of mealie, I remember going into Mutendere and going into Mandevu to talk to people, to hear their concerns. Never passed back. That's the leadership you chose. Absolute responsibility. Not ducking, but also acknowledging that certain things we can't do on our own. We needed to work with others within our country, in our organization, partners put together, but also the private sector. Churches, unions, as it were. That is the way we interpreted your mandate. Absolutely, without ambiguity. It is true that challenges in the last 4 years, 10 months now, were abound. We inherited COVID, worked through it, found the vaccination percentage was only 5%. In 6-7 months, we drove it to 75%, 80%. As though that was not enough, we inherited a debt mountain. We took it like our own. Yes, it's our own. Messed up by others, but we took it as our own.
All right, that is the 2026 manifesto launch by the United Party for National Development. We'll be getting back there shortly. Mr. Chomba, let's conclude on our conversation, but also let's look at this particular event that is taking place today and how significant it is getting into this election period, this campaign period.
Political parties should always avail their manifestos to the public, and the media is part of the public, so that you compare and contrast. For example, for a ruling party, the UPND have got 13 people who are supposed to punch holes into the manifesto, and I'm talking about candidates at this particular moment, who are supposed to get a copy of the manifesto of the ruling party and talk about what is it that they are saying about education? What are they saying about the justice system? What are they saying about community development? And then an opposition political party, if you are not in favor of violence, you are supposed to sit down and analyze and talk and simply tell Zambians all these things that they are talking about. The president was at Mlongoshi. This is not what we are going to do. This is what we are going to do as better players in the political system. Otherwise, what would happen is if politicians are simply going to say, without talking about what they are going to do for the public. It's like when we are growing up and you are telling a woman, this boyfriend of yours is bad. But as she goes home, she'll be asking, but what are you going to do for me if I married you? That's why we have got different choices. So I would advise all the political parties, 14 candidates, to pick up the manifesto of the ruling party and not simply say, this provision is bad, but say, this provision is bad. For example, free education is bad. This is what we are going to do to better free education in the public. The financial sector is not being led properly by the UPND. But when we come into power, this is what we are going to do. That is the importance of manifesto. So don't just end at condemning, but you need to start promising Zambians. Because what Zambians need is a better life after 13th August. If they are not having it, what is it that you are providing?
All right. You are watching Conversations at 1, and we're going to be heading back to Mlungushi International Conference Center, where President Hakainde Hichilema and the UPND are launching the manifesto for 2026 and beyond. Mr. Chomba, thank you very much for having made it to Conversations at 1. Even though I wanted you to comment, there was the Southern Province incident in Mazabuka, where the commanding officer there had cited a bill which had not yet become law as what was being enforced.
Is not the only one. There were some politicians who were even citing the provision for independent members of parliament. They were looking at the bill instead of the act. We need to up our game in terms of understanding what is a bill and what is a law. A law. A bill is a proposed law. It hasn't come into enforcement. But an act is when it's implemented or the president assents to it, and the provision in terms of statutory instrument issued. If you go against, what would happen is you are breaching the law, and there are penalties there. Just like I would give, since we are in an election time, the code of conduct previously was a gentleman's agreement. But when it was now incorporated in the Electoral Process Act, which means it's enforcement. If you stray into your friend's area of campaign, the law, the Electoral Commission of Zambia can simply tell you, you are not abiding by the Electoral Process Act, so you shouldn't be in the political arena. At first, in 2016, it was disqualification. Now it's simply a suspension of a political party or a candidate.
All right, we head back to Mlungushi International Conference Center. Thank you very much for the pleasure of your company. Good afternoon.
We better get used to that as a people. It's the best thing to have for all, not for a few. What have we delivered in the last 4 years, 10 months? What is it that we said we'll do? What have we delivered? How have we performed? Initially, our competitors used to make jokes and giggling around and say, Vash promise. So I was listening. Oh, Navatampaka Lenavena. Yes, that's a nickname they gave me at Vash Promise. Because we said with going back to a vision, you have to have a clear vision of why you are seeking public office. If that constitutes a promise, it's correct. But you can't say Vash Promise 6 months into government and we say to them, wait a little bit. There's a way things are done. There's a way things are done. We say to them, Pembera first. Mwikale apotondolo. Mulole shefireshtika. There's a way you get things done. Some are basic, some are complex, such as resolving a complex debt cobweb that those who gave us a name of Vash Promise created. When they created the debt, it was easy. To untangle it is complex, and it needed time. So I said to them, Pembera first mweva rumendo. Pembera first. I know, you know, we know that when you take out meal allowances from students and you bankrupted the economy to minus 2.8% GDP growth, actually negative growth, it takes time to reconstruct the numbers, to if you like, charge the treasury, the envelope. And we say to our colleagues, be patient. You took 10 years to destroy. We've only been in office for 6 months. Wait. Just relax. Just wait. Zambia? One Zambia. Anyhow, just a kadionko. What did we do in the 4 years, 10 months, with all the great difficulties we inherited? Unimaginable. By just highlights. To start with, we brought back free education. We promised that every child of Zambia will be treated equitably, whether from wealthy parents or from challenged backgrounds, but they were children of Zambia. That's what mattered. And we brought free education. As a consequence of that, 2.5 million children have gone back to school. There is your answer and the nickname you gave us. See if you can call us Vash Promise again. Free education. Education is the best investment. Equalizer and inheritance, isn't it? That's all many of us received. But someone took it away. What decision process did they use to take away or never to grant free education? What considerations did they have? What did they think of the orphan? Not a single orphan, but a double orphan. Did they think that that child is not a Zambian? Did they believe that that child can succeed in life without education? Those are questions I ask. We saw things differently. That these are Zambian children. Free education. We have managed, after 3 years of hard work, to restructure the debt. A debt created by those making noise now. Grandstanding and making noise. That's what I call it. The numbers are here. We defaulted in 2020. First African country to default. The meaning of default is that no lender would touch us. Everybody said this country is finished. And we promised that we would deliver the debt restructuring. We have delivered the debt restructuring. To give you context, the debt you brought about without thinking was to cost us every year $2.3 billion to service it. After the debt restructuring, this number has reduced to $900 million per year. Literally saving $1.4 billion per year. There is your answer. Call us, Vash promise.